If you click this video, I'm going to assume 3 things are true. 1 is you've already tried to make money online before, didn't really get traction. 2 is you're young in your 20s. And 3, you want to travel the world. So in this video, I'm going to answer a question that I get asked all the time. Riley, I want to live that nomad life. How would you advise I start as an absolute beginner? I'm new to the online game. And I'm going to explain the #1 mistake that I see newbies make so you can avoid this. And so to understand that mistake, let's talk about video games as an example. So if you're coming out of college and you want to get rich in the video game industry, you're not just going to spend all of your time and energy building your own video game straight out the gate. It's just not going to work. What you want to do, of course, is go work for a video game company for a number of years to build your skills first. Be around other people who have already successfully built video games and learn from them. I call this getting paid to learn. So what I'm saying is the #1 mistake that newbies make is they just dive into some online business model with no experience. One thing to consider, of course, when choosing what niche you want to get into, what skills you want to build, what is growing, what is trending. So right now, TikTok stuff comes to mind, AI, obviously. So what you're going to want to do is first look for a remote job, become a remote employee in the space that you want to be in, where you're going to be doing the skills that you want to build. It's much easier to start with a remote job. All right, that's level 1. More and more companies are hiring remotely, and you can do this relatively easy. Go on the regular job sites, LinkedIn Jobs, ZipRecruiter, Indeed. There are unlimited remote jobs out there. And so this is the first thing that I tell people when they ask me about how to be a digital nomad. I say, first, start at level 1. So I learned this the hard way 10 years ago when I got started. I just quit my corporate job. I had about only $8,000 saved up. And I came out to this conference in Thailand out here called Dropship Lifestyle Conference, just with a dream to make money online and live the digital nomad life. I was doing everything wrong with dropshipping and my store completely failed. Then I switched to Amazon FBA because people were having success in the FBA game. I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. But the first product we tried, there was a copyright issue, so that had to be scrapped. We were scrambling. It came down to the wire. I had like a couple $100 left in my bank account. I scrambled to find a second product idea, ordered like a couple 100 units, sent it into FBA, and luckily it sold through, giving some money back to survive. But if I'm talking to someone nowadays, I'm totally recommending just get a remote job. That is your fastest ticket to go remote. That's level 1. Example, Brandy. I interviewed her on my channel. She was actually a subscriber and we actually met up in Bali. She was working a 9-to-5 job and she was doing well, dreamt of something more, of course, freedom, adventure, ability to just work from anywhere. She had her sights set on Bali, but there was a problem. Her job was the stereotypical corporate office type job, and working remotely from Bali seemed like that would never be possible. She felt stuck, unsure if she could ever break free from the office walls, but Brandy decided to take a bold step. She gathered her courage and crafted a plan on how she could meet her job requirements working remotely. Then Brandy pitched the idea to her boss, and to her surprise, her boss agreed. And the trial period was a flying success. Her productivity remained high, and she proved she could handle all of her shit from anywhere in the world. And that's when she got the thumbs up to work remotely on a permanent basis. But bro, my job is never gonna let me work remotely. Well, you'd actually be surprised. We all know since the lockdowns, the world has seen a big shift. Companies that you never would have thought would go remote are now either fully remote or hybrid. So if you want to give that a try, here are some tips. 1, start by showing how remote work can be a win-win for you and your company. Be ready with examples of how you've managed tasks well independently or how remote work can save time and resources. Big mistake. Don't just go to your boss and say, hey, can I work remotely? Instead, go to your boss and ask for small steps at a time. For example, 1 day a week remote. If that goes well, ask for 2 days a week and go from there. You have to build up the trust. And if it's just not possible, it's not going to work out, then time to look elsewhere. With more and more companies jumping on the remote work bandwagon, job platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter are filling up with remote opportunities. From marketing to project management, coding to design, there's a remote job out there for almost every skill set. mindset. And once you find that remote job, of course, you can stay there for as long as you want, living the digital nomad life. There are tons of remote employee nomads. I've noticed it firsthand over the last few years. More and more nomads, expats, travelers, remote workers are actually just remote employees. And from there, from the level 1 remote employee, you can move on to level 2. With this method, many people make more than $10,000 a month. Now, that doesn't happen overnight, but with some certain situations, it's possible to hit that within your first year. So what I recommend to do is start your side gig while you have your remote job, and over time, build this up, and you're going to get to a point where you can finally quit and leave your remote job. I'll share Marcus's example for this one. So Marcus actually was a subscriber, and he was actually a student of my Amazon FBA course. He was doing Amazon FBA for a while, but found himself in a very common situation, just didn't get traction. And then Marcus discovered remote closing. He began researching, learning, and everything about remote closing, sales, and he got a remote sales job. And then from there, he got some freelance clients as a remote closer. And then from there, he was able to leave his job and just be a freelance sales closer, just taking inbound sales calls for companies and clients. He got to the point where he was making $10,000 months regularly, able to travel the world, live in Mexico, Thailand. So if you want to start freelancing, where can you start? I recommend Upwork. I've actually been on Upwork for over 5 years now, getting clients for my Amazon marketing agency. And believe me, it can be a goldmine for new freelancers. Quick tips on how to get your first freelance clients and gigs on Upwork. Number 1, keep your hourly rate super low and just get some quick jobs out the gate. Close out those quick jobs after a couple weeks or a month as soon as that client is happy, and get your initial review for that piece of the project from the client, so you can get your initial 3 reviews on your profile. Another hack is you can just ask a friend who has an online business to hire you for a 2-hour consultation, close out that job, and they can leave you a review for that consultation through Upwork. The way I view Upwork is honestly just like another version of LinkedIn, but with reviews and where people can directly hire you in a couple clicks. Big fan of Upwork, but there's one skill that stands out to me the most, and that is remote closing. What is remote closing, you ask? In remote closing, you are basically just a remote sales rep. You're part of a sales team. But instead of cold calling, you are dealing with inbound leads. These are people who are already interested in the product or service. It's usually an online course or service. People have already signed up to learn more about that service, and or watched a webinar, and or put in their phone number and scheduled a time to learn more on their website. So all you do is take those calls for that company, close the leads, and take a 10 to 20% commission. Now, it's called high ticket closing because it's usually $3,000, $5,000, or around $10,000 packages. So your commissions can be $300, $500, even up to $1,000 per close. You're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 calls per day on average. So that's what Marcus was doing, and how he was able to make $10,000 months as a freelancer while traveling. And the cool thing about remote closing is it's a very relatively simple service to offer. There's no due dates, there's no delivery, there's no managing clients. You're just on the phone and close it, and it's done. On to the next one. If remote closing sounds interesting to you, I already have a free ebook that will teach you how to get your first high ticket remote closing jobs using my proven method. All right, so you started with the remote job. On the side of that, you started doing freelance gigs, making money with freelance clients. Then from there, you can work on leveling up to level 3. So the first 2 levels, you are trading your time for money. That's a good place to start. But of course, long term, we all want to have a business. We all want to own a business, which means making money while you sleep and having the potential to get rich, make $1 million a year, up and up. But before diving straight into trying to build a big online business, go through level 1 and then level 2. Because in your online business, you're gonna need these skills as well. And one skill that I'm saying you're gonna need in every type of business is sales, aka communication, aka talking to people, listening, making shit happen with your voice, let alone the charisma and confidence and kind of leadership skills that come from being a sales rep. That's why a lot of entrepreneurs say, hey, you want to be rich? Fucking get in there and be a sales rep and fucking hit those fucking phones. Like some Wolf of Wall Street type shit. That's why young, ambitious males, it's very common for them to be in sales positions because it's commission based and what you make is correlated to just your fucking effort. So earlier I mentioned that remote sales was my favorite form of freelancing right now because it's so simple. I didn't have time to go into the details in this video, especially if you have sales experience already. Like if you're in a 9-to-5 corporate sales job or something like this, breaking into freelance sales, freelance remote closing, easy, you'll crush it. Anyways, I have a whole video breaking down how to get a remote sales closing job in as little as 7 days. Tom, he's a student in my inner circle. He got a remote job in 7 days, Ernie in 3 days, Max in 2 days, and Jake in like 4 days. So if you think sales is something that you can do, it's one of the easiest ways to get started as a freelancer. And you can click the video right here over on my Riley Bennett remote channel. By the way, if you're not subscribed to that channel, I'm building that whole new channel all about freelancing and specifically remote sales freelancing. I started in door-to-door sales back when I was 18. I did sales for 6 years. So I've really been in the sales game for 15 years now. So it's something I can teach. And I'm seeing it's just the easiest way and fastest way to go remote as a freelancer, but have the potential to make high money, aka 5K a month, 10K a month within like a matter of months, because it's commission based. You don't need a website. You don't need any investment at all. Basically, you just need a headset and a laptop. And of course, if you want to pay for a coach, okay, pay for a coach or a mastermind or something like that. Anyways, I'm going to hit these weights. See you guys out here in the comments and see you on this video right here over on Riley Bennett remote channel and lots more videos over there. All right.